What's going on, y'all? So today I'm gonna go over this clip that my good brother Curtis King put up because I had to share this, and as I can see, this video, my response rather, got a lot of attention. So I wanted to actually respond in real time with my thoughts with this video because it was messy on Arbrina's behalf, and I want y'all to see what I'm talking about. So let's dive in.
It seems like nowadays people want to build Kendrick.
Nobody yelled out Kendrick. You just heard that in your head.
Do you see like the shots already? The shots already this dude was taking. And the thing is, here's the thing about just psychological warfare and logic. You don't throw shots like that at somebody you're not threatened by. You don't throw shots like that at somebody who you don't think is a big deal. You start doing shots like that because you see that this person could be a threat towards anything that you got going on. And this is around the time Good Kid, Mad City came out. So he saw that Kendrick had potential because prior to Good Kid, Mad City, you had the Section 80 album, which, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily didn't know about with Kendrick back then. Back then, that was actually the album that put me on really the Kendricks, that actually made me a fan. What got me as a fan of Kendrick was the very first song that I heard from Kendrick was when, I think it was The Heart Part 3. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard it in mad long, but it's where he went over the legendary sample, Umi Says by Mos Def. When I saw how he went off that, I was like, yo, I'm a fan. So when I heard Rigor Mortis on Section 80, I was like, yo, you know what? Dude is talented. So Good Kid, Mad City, going on down to Pimp a Butterfly and so forth, you see somebody who has major skill. So I share that background to show that Kendrick has shown his art and his creativity for a long time in the underground circuit. And we look at that 2013, this is kind of like when the blog era is basically starting to phase out. The blog era began like around 2009, 2010, around the rise of Twitter. And that was when Drake was kind of like still getting on. So Drake solidified his relationship with Elliott Wilson, as we see right here, through that. So I'm just giving y'all, for those of you who don't know the full backstory, I'm kind of giving you all what it was like back then during the blog era. So when Aubrey came out with his album and everything, and all of his, this is back when he was with Cash Money, when he was sounding like Wayne back then. This is where he was hot for. So
when you go to sleep, you just hear somebody be like, Kendrick Lamar.
So for him to make fun of Kendrick with his backstory, him just come out of the blog era, is mad goofy. Super goofy.
No, but here's what's funny about you and Kendrick Lamar. It's like people forget you had him on Take Care. You had him on Buried Alive. You talked about a meeting that you guys had where you kind of was schooling him on the game. And there's a great line about how he realized he's the same age as you, and it made him rude and impatient. So it's almost like it's very foreshadowing. You know, he ended up making a great record, Good Kid, Mad City. Just the connection.
Phenomenal album, by the way. Phenomenal album. Yeah, round of applause.
And then now he takes a competitive stance with a verse like Control. And then you said that, you know, he's not murdering you in any platform. But, you know, that's where that rivalry, that's where people want to try to build. That's if you want to try to build a rivalry. Like, what's your take on that? Do you feel?
Hey, I wonder why Kendrick came so hard on that hip hop award cipher. Do y'all see those BET awards? All right, the BET awards cipher. Do you see why Dot went so hard on that BET awards cipher? There you go.
I feel like that they're trying to create a competition that he's not on your level because of your accomplishments. Like, do you feel like they're trying to hype this up and elevate it too much?
Nah, I feel like that's it. It's like, you know, he's the new guy to love, and of course, I mean, rightfully so. He's super talented, you know. But thank you. But he's but he's like, you know, he is the underdog that's extremely hungry. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing his thing really well. And that verse was, he's giving people like moments, you know, like that verse was a moment to talk about. Are you listening to it now at this point in time? Okay. And then, But it was real cool for like, you know, a couple weeks.
Do you see that? Do you see that? Someone in the crowd literally just said, nope, I'm still listening to it. And he tried to ignore that. So the Control verse was a crazy verse. And I still remember that time in history. It was Control, then it was the Cypher. It was like two back-to-back events that happened. So he's trying to make it, the downplay is like, oh, are you listening to that now? Here's the thing. It wasn't a direct diss song because contrary to belief, people are still talking about Not Like Us. And it's funny, there was somebody on Twitter, I ain't gonna mention his name, but there was somebody on Twitter who was talking about that nobody's gonna be talking about this, you know, come March, the Super Bowl performance come March. We're almost in March and people are still finding things to talk about with this whole entire performance because there are so many layers. There were so many layers to this performance. We're not gonna get into that. I talked enough about that in the previous video. If you want to go check that, I'll put a card up above me. Let's keep watching this.
But like, if I asked you, for example, like, how does that verse start?
No, do you remember?
No, and like,
No.
now mind you, it'll go on in Complex and Rap Radar, give it like verse of the millennium and all that shit or whatever. But like, I'm just saying, it's like, you know, I remember like somebody like asking me, you know, or maybe it was you that was like, is Kendrick Lamar your biggest competition like in this generation or whatever? Yeah. And I think that Kendrick has like the utmost potential, man. Like, you know, I see Kendrick tomorrow, I'm gonna dap him. I didn't feel the way about that verse. I get it. I get the moment. Like, you know, he's a good guy. And like, I know that verse had no malice behind it because I saw him 5 days later at the VMAs and it was all love. So it's like, he didn't come on there on some wild, like, yeah, I'm in New York, fuck everybody, don't look at me. Like,
I'm the king.
So it was, you know, it was one of those things. It's like, I almost wish he had come in there on that shit because I kind of lost like a little respect for the sentiment of the verse. If it's really fuck everybody, then it needs to be fuck everybody. It just can't.
And let's cue back for a sec. I'm gonna come back. That's why we got this. That's why we got this. That's exactly why we got this moment. Because you ran your mouth. You ran your mouth. That's why. But let's keep going.
Can't be halfway for the sake of the people. But you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, that's just how I feel. Yeah. But anyway, like, you know.
So wait, pause for a second. So what Drake was trying to put out here, and I'll call him his rapper name for here. He's basically saying that if you're going to write some lyrics, be about the lyrics. Whereas Kendrick even said, like, yo, he understands the sport of battling. Now, here's the thing. Anyone who have seen the battle rap circuit, you could get really ugly with some of those lyrics, but some of those dudes are still mad cool with each other because it is a sport. It's like boxing, where people are boxing and you literally fight your fight and box someone down to a corner. The goal is to win. The goal is to beat the person down, either to knock them out or to win by points, right? But what happens at the end of the boxing match when the two people respect each other? It's all love. So for him to take that type of position was like, oh, I don't even respect the sentiment of the verse. It's going to be all love at that point. My whole thing is, why create a narrative that we always got to be against each other? And it's like, this is some of the toxic mentality with some of the hip hop, some of the toxic hip hop things that this dude has brought in that has to go. So that's why when Kendrick wrote Meet the Grams and called this dude a colonizer, you see why.
I still like, when it comes to competition, I'm more worried about consistency. I'm more worried about bodies of work. I'm talking about hit records. I'm talking about, I'm basically talking about, like, you know, there's one guy who's up every night thinking about how to get better and how to do things bigger. And, you know, that's Kanye West. He's like, you know, he's always going to.
And this didn't age well, because how did that work out? Going fast forward 12 years later. How did that work out?
to be the guy that's trying to.
And that's not a disrespect to Kanye. Kanye is a visionary. Kanye is a musical genius. I would never take that away from him. But unfortunately, with some of the stuff that he has been on lately, he has turned a lot of people away from him even ever making music again. Matter of fact, Kanye embodied the whole mantra of bad publicity is still good publicity. He embodied that. He was able to make that work probably up until this year. And now more and more people, with the way the culture is changing, which I actually love, people are literally ready to say, no, I don't want to keep investing my time into listening to people who are toxic. And that's what, unfortunately, we see Aubrey going through right now.
Outthink and outdo, everybody. So for me, that would be like, that's my guy that I aspire to surpass, you know what I mean? And as far as Kendrick goes, like, I can't wait to see what he does, because now it's time to show and prove. And consistency it's been one album.
He showed improved. Just smiled while doing it at the Super Bowl. I had a whole stadium saying A minor. Let's keep going.
Consistency is like, you need more than one album, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's time to show and prove, and I look forward to seeing what he does, man. He's fucking super talented. So yeah, cheers to Kendrick Lamar.
All right.
So shout out to Elliott Wilson, shout out to Curtis King, and shout out to Aubrey for what he has said, everything on here. So here's the thing, and let me cut back over. My whole thing with this is Dot has already shown for the past 12 years of what it means to grow as an artist. And one of the things that I can actually respect, all his albums have meaning, from Good Kid, Mad City all the way down to GNX. This man has shown what it means to not only grow as an artist, but to grow as a person. And he has allowed us to go on that journey with him. And I can arguably say you haven't really seen that from like the old R&B albums. When I say the old R&B, I'm talking like Michael Jackson type R&B. I'm talking like Earth, Wind & Fire type R&B. You haven't seen people give their story and go through their life changes and kind of like shake up the genre a bit as much as you did Kendrick. I still remember off the To Pimp a Butterfly album, King Kunta was a totally different style. It was really like something that you could literally imagine, something that James Brown would have done. And since then, I just had nothing but respect for Kendrick. And this is not glazing, as people would say now. It's just really giving people their flowers while they're still alive. So my whole point in taking away from this, be careful with some of the things that you say. Be careful of the people that you look down upon in their early beginnings, in their humble beginnings, because you do not know what could happen in a decade. You do not know where they can be 10 years from now. I don't look down on nobody, because the truth of the matter is, even Aubrey, matter of fact, that's me. That's just the hip hop in me. That's just me taking shots. Honestly, with him, even him as a man, I don't look down on him, because at the end of the day, where someone may be perceivably lower than you right now, life has a sure way of allowing you to pass by that same person you look down upon, and now you have to look up at them. So be careful, because what does the Bible say? The bride say, I said the bride, that's the bride. The Bible says, pride cometh before the fall. Where you have so much ego in here, and this gets bigger, that ego in your heart causes gravity to take place. And however high you was up, you start to come down. And when you come down, the same people you was looking down upon, you're gonna meet them as you're coming down, and you have to look up at them. And you have to learn from the same people you look down on. don't be that person. Listen, my name is Avidan Smith, and I help creatives like you find your unique sound and live a purpose-driven life. If you have not already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and most of all, if you're a musician, Melodic's link down in the description. Get your this discount. I'm all messed up today. Get your discount on Melodic's down below. Get a few months off, percentage on me and Melodic's. You don't know what Melodic's is, I'm gonna have ad right here explaining that to you. Catch you on the next one. Peace. Don't mean to interrupt your video. I promise this won't take long. Have you heard of Melodic's? If you haven't, I want you to take a look at this. Melodic's is a learning tool that helps music producers learn how to finger drum better, play the keyboard better, or even use electronic drums better. This is something that if you are serious about your music production journey and you want to separate yourself from people who don't know music theory or who don't know how to play the keyboard or who don't know how to finger drum, this is for you. I would highly recommend buying this. I have a link down below. It is an affiliate link. I do get a financial kickback from this. It doesn't cost you extra, but it does benefit the channel if you do click on that. So I will encourage you to check out that link, and you will get a percentage off your next purchase with Melodic's if you go ahead and sign up under me. So check it out down below. I'll catch you back in the video.